What's up, fam? Welcome to the Mrs. Reddit Show. I'm your host, JF Kevin, filling in for Karen Monroe. Today we've got some really great stories for you. My favorite's when OP fills their brother's water bottle with crickets. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that subscription button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Apologize for hurting her eye. This happened to a friend of mine, Kara. She's a 40-year-old female, and she worked at a furniture/furnishing shop similar to Pier 1 or World Market. Kara was at work when an entitled woman comes in with her daughter to look at fake plants. The daughter's maybe 12 years old or so. This entitled woman found some plants she wanted to pick up to look at closer, so Kara comes over to help her. Kara is being perfectly pleasant, entitled woman is not. The conversation goes something like this. Entitled woman:
Hello, yes, I'd like to look at this plant up close.
Why the woman couldn't just bend down, I'll never know. Okay, no problem. I'll pick it up and bring it over to the counter so we can set it down and look at it. It was too heavy to just hold while this woman inspected it. Kara then bends over and reaches for the plant.
No, I want to look at it now. Why do I have to walk all the way over there to look at it?
Entitled woman reaches for the plant herself and grabs it before Kara can get a good grip on it. She lifts it up and in the process stabs Kara right in the eye with one of the fronds from the plant. Ow! Oh my god! Kara takes a step back, cups her eye, composes herself, even though she's in serious pain, while entitled woman is just looking at the plant like nothing happened.
Mom, what the heck?
The daughter says.
What? She's not helping me. I want to look at the plant.
You just hurt that woman. Don't you see that she's hurt?
I'm looking at this plant, honey.
Mom, seriously, apologize now.
Entitled woman ignores her daughter and looks at the plant some more.
Come on.
She grabbed her mom's hand.
We're leaving so that poor woman can go to the bathroom and take care of her eye.
They leave in a huff. Turns out Kara's cornea got scratched. Deeply. Like a big paper cut right on her eye. It required stitches, which I didn't even know you could do to an eye. Multiple doctor visits, and for her to apply this gooey, gross salve to her eye for more than a month after the incident. And to boot, Kara has dry eyes, so when she would wake up every morning, her eyelid would stick to the surface of her eye and rip the stitches open the first time she opened her eyes every day. She is now a chronic eye drop user. F that, Karen. Wow. Wow. Not gonna lie. These stories were left to me by Karen, so I didn't actually read this beforehand. And when it got to the stitches in the eyeball part, that's one of that's one of my biggest fears is getting stabbed in the eye. I don't know. As a kid, I'd go to the bathroom at my grandma's house, and she had this really weird glass mirror shelf. The shelf itself was made of a mirror, super jagged edges, nothing to cover the edges, and I would go to the bathroom and I'd pee and I'd just kind of eyeball that really sharp corner and have horrible kid fantasies about, or not fantasies, but nightmares, daymares about accidentally tripping or falling while peeing randomly, which never happened. Maybe a couple times when I was, it doesn't matter. I would sit there and I'd look at that I'd see that edge, be acutely aware of it, and just be worried. So yeah, oh man, that sucks. And also, F that, Karen. He gets exactly what he asked for. This happened when I, female and 20 at the time, was a junior in college. Here's some context. I had taken a long weekend trip to Florida with a friend of mine to visit her brother and to go to Universal Studios' Fright Night Halloween event. We had an amazing trip, and we were on the plane about to head home. This was only my second time ever with air travel. We didn't have much when I was growing up, so vacations were not a regular thing, and the ones that we did take were low-key. So there I was, just excited to be flying in my coach seat, waiting to take off. And we kept waiting, and waiting. It became clear that there was a problem with the plane when the flight attendants started calling various passengers to exit and be placed on different flights so they'd make their necessary connections. Eventually, after around 40 minutes, it was just my friend and I plus around 6 other people. And then it was our turn to leave the plane. We were sort of near the end of the group that was tromping back out into the waiting area, and one couple, probably in their mid-50s, had stormed up ahead of us, And by the time my friend and I emerged from the gate entrance, the rude husband was already berating the pair of attendants who, to their credit, remained poised and calm. They tried to reassure him, but he was talking over them.
This is unacceptable. You better get me the same seats we had on that flight.
He had the first row in coach, the ones with no seats in front of them and therefore a little bit of extra legroom. By then, the rest of us had gathered around the attendants, who began addressing the whole group, offering reassurances, filling us in that there was a critical problem with the plane, which personally made me very glad for the change, despite the inconvenience. The rude husband was going off through all of this, and when the attendants left to make arrangements for us all, he and his wife sat there and he continued his commentary to his poor wife.
Unacceptable. How dare they? Better have the same seats.
And so on. Shortly, the attendants returned, and the man practically rushed them.
I demand you make this right.
The attendant smiled and said,
You guys are all set, sir.
and she smiled at him specifically.
I'm very happy to tell you that we have a flight leaving shortly, and we were able to give you and your wife the exact same seats you had booked on the previous flight.
The rude husband said,
I should hope so. That's the least you could do.
and he huffily returned to his seat. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just waiting. The attendant then turns to us, and she says,
And I'm happy to let everyone else know that you'll be flying first class with us today.
Rude husband was furious and immediately jumped up to demand why they weren't flying first class while the rest of us just sat there in a state of stunned glee. The attendant just informed the man that she had given him his request and didn't stick around for more abuse. The wait wasn't long, and soon my friend and I were boarded into the unicorn-fabled place that is first class. As a poor, air-traveled newbie, it was like some fantasy land, huge seats, red-hot washcloths, and though we were underage and couldn't partake of the free cocktail, we did get to choose from a basket of distinctive Pepperidge Farm cookies. And the food! We got a whole meal, which was truly delicious, with real crystal salt and pepper shakers at each setting and actual metal cutlery. Meanwhile, rude husband is irate. My friend and I were in the last row of first class, which only had around 8 seats, and we could hear him heaping abuse on the coach attendants, going off on
How those kids don't deserve first class and how we should have gotten them. We're older. We should be respected, not some kids.
Someone else who was in first, not from our original plane, caught on and was quite tickled with the man's ire. Then, the best part happened. The flight attendant in our section overheard the rude husband's tirade, with language specifically directed at my friend and me.
Who do these kids think they are?
We, unworthy of the honor that he should have been granted. The attendant just shook his head and addressed me and my friend. I'm sorry about that. Let me take care of this for you. And he closed the curtain to the coach cabin. Rude husband realized what happened, which made it even better. I got one last look at his red, irate face before he was gone forever. It was glorious! Flying sucks. It's not fun. You have to get to the airport super early. You have to go through security. I mean, obviously, if you have the expendable income, you can bypass some of these things and it makes it a lot easier. But for the most part, flying sucks. Most of us don't like it. And you know what? Flight attendants are just the waiters and waitresses of the air. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I waited tables for like 20 years. What I mean is, don't treat them like doo-doo stains. Be nice to them. I mean, because it's just like you don't mess with someone who like handles your food. You don't mess with someone who can upgrade your seats. Come on, man. All right, before our last story, do me a favor, smash that like button and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you would do if a Karen scratched your eyeball up. Petty revenge. My older brother made life horrible for me. Any bullied younger sibling knows the deal. Constant torment, teasing, horrific bullying, physical, mental, emotional, verbal. My parents used the excuse that it was done with love, but it wasn't. It was malicious and cruel. I wanted revenge, and I planned a good one. At the time, my brother was only 15 and I was 13. In our town, the junior and senior high are all in one building, grades 7 through 12. He played football and always had his gym bag with him. It had water, Gatorade, all the stuff someone would carry. I had leftovers from a great restaurant. I told him not to eat them. Our parents told him not to eat them. So what did he do? he ate them. No punishment from the parents. He was the golden child because A, he was born first, and B, he was born a boy. Obviously, I had to take matters into my own hands. I convinced a friend's older sibling to drive us to the pet store where I bought 3 dozen large live feeder crickets. My brother practiced gym bag as usual the night before and put it by the door so he wouldn't forget it. After everyone went to bed, I unloaded all the live crickets into his bag. The next day, he went to practice. And as usual, I had to sit in the bleachers and watch until we got picked up by our parents. It was too far to walk home, public transit didn't exist, and for reasons I won't go into, the school bus was dangerous unless my brother was on it as well. So there he is, taking a break when he opens his bag to get a drink. Cue the crickets leaping out of the bag and glorious and petty revenge. My brother screamed the high-pitched horror movie scream queen scream. It legit sounded like a woman being murdered in the shower. Everyone came running over and started laughing. This big, tough, 250-pound, almost 6'2" guy was screaming about some harmless crickets in his bag. The story spread like wildfire, as expected, since we only had, like 1,200 students in the entire school. He was tormented for it for the rest of his high school career. No one ever let him live it down. Someone, not me, put small feeder crickets in his locker a few times since they could be fed through the vents. Everyone assumed it had just been a prank or hazing by someone else on the team. No one even thought it could have been me, his sweet little sister. After it happened, I acted concerned. I asked if he was okay. I commiserated with him. I told him it was a lousy thing to do. And all the while, I gloated. Perfect petty revenge, and I totally got away with it. Oh man, OP. That was a pleasure to read. Sometimes, that was brilliant petty revenge. I loved it. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's it for today. I'm sorry. I got to do it the way Karen does it. All right. Cue the music. That's all for today. Bye.
We're leaving so that poor woman can go get to the bathroom and take care of her eye.
Oh, great. Gardeners are here.